Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're diving into a really interesting one, Applied Digital and their upcoming earnings report. We've got some great source material you sent over, a detailed pre-earnings analysis, recent catalyst report. And look, our goal is simple. Cut through the noise, pull out the absolute must-know info from this research. We want to get you up to speed fast on what really matters for this reporting cycle. And hey, before we really get into it, if you find this helpful, please hit subscribe, like the video, maybe drop a comment. Actually, yeah, if there's a specific company you want us to break down like this, definitely let us know in the comments below.
Okay, so first things first, let's nail down the timing. We're looking ahead here. The focus is the upcoming Q1 2026 earnings release. That's scheduled for October 9th, 2025.
October 9th, okay.
And this report, it covers the quarter right after all those big operational shifts in Q4 2025, which ended back on May 31st. So this Q1 data should really show how they're transitioning into those major AI contracts.
Right. And this is where it gets, well, kind of weird right from the start. There's this huge data gap. You've got this multi-billion-dollar company right at the heart of the AI data center boom, but the forecasting, it's just not there in the usual way. It's frankly a bit concerning.
It's more than a bit concerning. It's a major anomaly. As of, basically today, October 4th, 2025, the sources are clear. The big consensus aggregators, Refinitiv, FactSet, Yahoo Finance, they have zero verifiable forecasts.
Zero. Like nothing for revenue.
Yeah.
EPS, not even whisper numbers.
Nothing verifiable, zip. It's quite striking.
So the entire street is essentially flying blind. For a company this size, with these massive deals already announced, what does that even signal? Is it just skepticism, or maybe they're just growing too fast for the analysts to model accurately?
It probably suggests the models just haven't caught up yet. I mean, the pace of change in this AI infrastructure space is incredible, but it definitely cranks up the event risk for this earnings report. And it doesn't help that management didn't give explicit quarterly revenue or EPS guidance last time either, back in Q3.
Right. Their focus was almost entirely operational, building out capacity, talking about the GPU ramp. So when analysts don't have that baseline from management or consensus, well, the report becomes a wild card. Investors hate wildcards.
Yeah, no kidding. That makes looking back at their actual performance even more important then, doesn't it? How's their track record been lately?
It's been, let's say, volatile. That lack of guidance just amplifies the risk we see in their history. Looking at the last 4 quarters, it's a mixed bag. 3 EPS misses and only 1 beat.
3 misses, 1 beat.
Yeah, and take Q3 of fiscal 25, for example. They missed on revenue by about 3% and missed EPS by 4 cents. So they've definitely struggled to consistently hit those market growth expectations.
And how did the stock react? I bet it wasn't quiet.
Oh, definitely not. The market's reaction is just as choppy as the results. This stock moves post-earnings. After that Q3 miss you mentioned, the stock dropped 6.1% the next day.
Ouch.
But go back to Q1 of that same fiscal year, they had a beat, and the stock jumped almost 5%. Wow. So it's really binary. Either the market loves it or it punishes it hard. There's no middle ground.
Pretty much. And the margin story, well, that helps explain some of that nervousness and volatility. Gross margin has bounced around, mostly between, say, 18% and 23%. But the key thing is operating margin is still negative.
Oh, negative. Why?
It reflects those huge costs. They're aggressively ramping up capacity, building these massive data centers, and the operating expenses, the OPEX, are just really high right now.
So they're spending heavily now, taking the pain, betting on massive future growth to pay it off. Is that the idea?
That's the narrative, yes. And that negative operating margin is expected to stick around at least until this new capacity is really humming, fully utilized, and running efficiently. It's intentional cash burn.
Okay.
We also saw in the Q3 numbers that their inventory balance went up quarter over quarter.
Inventory, what does that mean for a data center company? Hardware.
Exactly. It means they're buying the hardware, the racks, the modules, getting them commissioned before the customers are fully onboarded and paying.
So they're stocking the shelves, essentially getting ready.
Precisely. Build it, then hope the customers fill it quickly. And that leads us right into the main investment thesis, right? This massive AI growth story that gets investors to look past the current margin pressure.
Yeah, this is the exciting part. Despite the margins, the headline is still huge. Year-over-year hosting revenue growth, high double digits. Okay, sequential growth might have slowed a bit recently, but the backdrop is just undeniably strong, right?
Yeah.
This massive demand for AI data center capacity, for GPU compute power.
Yeah.
That's the core play.
Absolutely. And the momentum, the catalyst leading into this specific report for Q1 2026 were significant. Think back to July and August 2025. July 2025, they announced that huge multi-billion-dollar lease deal with CoreWeave.
Right, that was big news. Stock jumped over 30%.
It did, and critically, it de-risked a big chunk of their long-term revenue. Suddenly, you had visibility on cash flows stretching way out.
That visibility must have been a relief for investors. But hang on, will the revenue from that deal actually show up significantly in this Q1 report? Or is the market just buying the long-term story for now?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The full revenue ramp takes time, but the costs associated with servicing that deal, building out, staffing up those costs, are hitting the books now in Q1.
Okay, so the costs are here, revenue comes later. Got it.
The market needs to see that ramp happening efficiently. And then, adding fuel to the fire, in August 2025, they announced plans to break ground just last month, in September, on the Polaris Forge 2 campus in North Dakota.
The $3 billion one.
The $3 billion campus, yeah.
That number is just staggering. That kind of commitment, it's almost their entire market cap right now. That's some serious conviction in future AI demand. It really plants their flag as a major infrastructure player.
No question. And don't forget the rumors swirling around suggesting they might be in talks with another huge AI client, potentially someone on the scale of CoreWeave.
Really? Another one.
It's just rumors, but the market momentum, their perceived ability to land these anchor tenants, it's definitely part of the narrative right now.
Okay, so beyond the earnings numbers themselves, you mentioned investors should keep an eye on some market events in November. ETF rebalancing and institutional ownership. Why those?
Right. Those updates, particularly the institutional ownership report mid-November, show you what the so-called smart money, the big funds, are doing. Did they buy more after earnings? Did they sell? If you see institutional buying pick up, especially from tech-focused funds, it signals strong long-term belief, and it can really impact the stock's liquidity and how it trades going forward.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift to the technical picture. How's the stock actually been trading heading into this report in early October?
Well, it's actually been a bit soft recently. The share price has slipped from around $16.50 in late August down to about $14.80 now in early October. So it's actually underperformed the S&P 500 a bit during that stretch.
Interesting. So some pre-earnings jitters, maybe?
Could be. And we also have to mention the CEO stock sale. Wesley Cummins sold 400,000 shares back in September.
Ooh, insider selling right before earnings. The optics on that are never great, are they? Even if he still owns a lot.
Yeah, the timing always gets scrutinized by the street, fairly or unfairly. He does maintain significant ownership, but it adds to the uncertainty.
And speaking of uncertainty and risk, that short interest figure is really high. That seems critical here.
It's absolutely critical. It's like a coiled spring. Short interest is sitting at 14.4% of the float.
Wow, 14.4%.
And importantly, that translates to 3.1 days to cover.
Okay, break that down. Days to cover.
Right. So that's basically how many days, based on average trading volume, it would theoretically take for all the short sellers to buy back the shares they borrowed. 3.1 is pretty high.
So if there's good news.
If there's good news, those shorts might scramble to buy back shares to limit their losses, and that buying pressure can seriously amplify any upward move. It's fuel for a potential short squeeze.
Got it. So no analyst consensus. It sounds like the options market is doing all the work pricing the risk here. How nervous are the options traders? What's the implied volatility look like?
The IV is flashing red. The implied volatility rank is way up there, at the 84th percentile.
84th percentile, meaning?
Meaning the market's current pricing of expected volatility is higher than it's been 84% of the time over the last year. It's extremely elevated. The market is bracing for a big move.
Okay, so what does that translate to? What kind of move is the market actually pricing in for earnings day, October 9th?
They're pricing in a huge swing. If you look at the money straddle for the weekly options expiring right after the report.
The straddle, right? Betting on a move either way.
Exactly. It implies an expected move of plus or minus $1.95 per share.
$1.95 on a $14.80 stock.
That's about 13.2%. A massive expected move. It just screams uncertainty and highlights how binary this event feels to the market.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together into an outlook. Your analysis laid out some probabilities. How should we think about the potential outcomes here? Is it leaning bullish or bearish?
The analysis leans neutral to cautiously bullish overall, mostly because those big deals, CoreWeave, Polaris Forge 2, offer such significant fundamental upside potential. But, and this is a big but, the event risk is incredibly high because of that data gap we talked about.
Right.
So the scenarios break down like this. The bullish case gets about a 25% probability. That's driven by them really delivering on the GPU segment ramp and maybe giving strong forward guidance.
And if that happens?
The implied move is big. Think plus 15% to plus 22%, a really strong rally.
Okay, and the flip side, the bearish case.
That gets a 20% probability. This would happen if they underdeliver on that AI revenue, maybe the ramp is slower than hoped, or if those high costs really squeeze the margins more than expected.
And the damage there.
A significant pullback, likely in the naggest 13% to naggest 20% range. So you see, the probabilities for a big move up or down are pretty substantial, confirming that roughly 13% swing the options market is pricing. The middle ground seems less likely.
It really does sound coiled for a major move. So for you, the listener, watching the news hit the wire on October 9th, what are the absolute key numbers to zoom in on? Cut through the noise.
Look, you can boil this entire complex situation down to two critical metrics. Number one, GPU segment revenue.
GPU revenue. Why that specifically?
Because that's the clearest signal of whether this big AI pivot is actually working, generating real sales now. The street needs to see an inflection point there to keep believing in that massive growth multiple stock commands.
Okay, GPU revenue. Got it. And number two?
Metric number two, gross margin. This tells you about their pricing power and how well they're managing those high operational costs as they scale up.
So even if GPU revenue looks good, if the margin tanks,
Exactly. If GPU revenue pops, but gross margin falls below that, say 18% floor we've seen, the market's going to get really nervous about the profitability of this growth, even if the top line looks good. Efficiency matters.
GPU revenue and gross margin. Okay.
So summing it all up, Applied Digital is truly at an inflection point. You've got these huge wins like CoreWeave and the massive Polaris Forge 2 build-out providing enormous upside potential and some de-risked future revenue. But you also have volatile margins, really high short interest, creating immediate risk, and this deeply concerning lack of analyst forecasts heading into the report. It's a pressure cooker situation.
Which brings us to that final sort of provocative thought for you to chew on. Considering the stock's recent weakness, the huge volatility priced in, those negative operating margins, does that massive $3 billion commitment to Polaris Forge 2 signal incredible confidence? Or is it maybe excessive leverage in a market that's clearly uncertain? Definitely keep an eye on those institutional ownership reports in mid-November. Seeing how the big money reacts after this report could tell you a lot about their real conviction level. Thanks for sharing the sources and walking through this analysis with us. It's certainly going to be an interesting one to watch. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you on the next analysis.